Hey everybody, welcome back to the program. Today we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of Abbey Road by comparing the brand new anniversary mix to 4 other pressings that I own, which include a 1969 original US pressing, a 1979 Mobile Fidelity pressing, a 1980s-ish UK pressing, and finally a 2012 Canadian pressing that's basically the 2009 CD remaster put onto vinyl. And we're going to compare all 4 of those to the brand new mix done by Giles Martin and Sam Okell. But keep in mind, I'm not going to be playing the whole song, just small sections where I feel you can really hear differences. Now, I'm going to hold my opinions till the very end of the video because I don't want to persuade you one way or the other. I want you to make your own decision and then hear my thoughts at the very end. So we're going to start with track 1, Come Together, and just check out this opening sequence.
You come all flat top, he come grooving up slowly. Got juju eyeball.
Now I want you to listen for the drums during the breakdown.
Come together, yeah. Come together.
All right, let's move on to the opening of Something.
Something in the way she moves attracts me like.
All right, next we're gonna move on to the bridge.
You're asking me, will my love grow? I don't know.
And finally, listen to the guitar solo here. All right, we're gonna move on to the opening of Maxwell's Silver Hammer.
Joan was quizzical, studied metaphysical science in the home. Late nights all alone.
All right, next up we have Oh Darling, and I really want you to listen for the drums. Next, we're gonna check out the breakdown and really listen for the echo here. Moving on to Octopus's Garden, we're gonna check out the first chorus, and I want you to listen for the guitars here.
I'd like to be, I'd like to be, I'd like to be, I'd like to be, I'd like to be.
Moving on to the guitar solo section, listen for the sound effects. See if you spot any differences here. Moving on to I Want You to listen for how the guitar and John's vocal play together.
Won't you? Won't you? Won't you? Won't you? Won't you?
We're gonna move on to the instrumental breakdown and see if you can hear any differences here. And finally, let's listen to the outro. All right, flipping over to side 2, we have my favorite Beatles song, Here Comes the Sun, and we're gonna listen to the opening verse.
Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling.
Next, I want you to listen out for the chorus lick. And finally, we're gonna check out the bridge section. Up next, we have the lovely Because, and I want you to listen for the first verse.
Because the world is round, it turns me on.
All right, so we're moving on to the montage section, and we're gonna start with You Never Gave Me Your Money's opening verse.
You never give me your money. You only give me your.
Now we're gonna jump to the start of the fast section.
Out of college, money spent. See no future, pay no rent.
And finally, let's check out the outro nursery rhyme.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All good children go to heaven. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Up next, we have the opening for Sun King, and I want you to listen for the crickets, guitar, and drums. We're gonna move to the chorus section and see if you can hear any differences. Moving right along, we have Mean Mr. Mustard. I'm not gonna play too much from this song, but I want you to hear for the piano and the fuzzy bass.
Me and Mr. Mustard sleeps in the park, shapes in the dark, trying to save paper.
Up next, we have Polythene Pam, and again, listen for the opening and see what differences you can pick up.
You should see Polythene Pam. She's so good looking, but she looks like a man. Well, you should see her in black dress in a...
Up next, we have She Came In Through the Bathroom Window, and I really want you to pay attention to the opening and see if you can hear all of the instruments clearly.
She came in through the bathroom window, protected by a silver spoon.
Now we're gonna move to the first chorus of Golden Slumbers.
Golden slumbers fill your eyes.
Up next, we have Carry That Weight, and I want you to pay attention to where Paul's vocals sit in the mix during this section.
I never give you my pillow. I only send you my...
Up next, we have the end, and I want to listen to the drum solo and see which version you like the best. And now we're going to move on to the guitar solo section, and again, see which version you like more. Finally, we're going to close with the outro section. And lastly, we have Her Majesty. See if you can spot any differences between the different pressings.
Her Majesty's a pretty nice girl, but she doesn't have a lot to say. Her Majesty's a pretty nice girl.
All right, so that is that. I have to say that overall, I am very impressed with the work that Giles and Sam did on this mix. It pays a huge respect to the album without overdoing anything. Again, like the White Album, the changes are subtle, but they are noticeable, especially for those of you who are really intimate with these songs, which I'm guessing a lot of you are. So you'll really pick up on these differences, and I think they're all for the better, especially when it comes to the stereo sound. Even in 1969, you still had instruments kind of heavy on one side or the other, and here I feel like the most Giles and Sam did was to kind of give it more of a round feel. Like when Ringo, or maybe it's Paul, I don't know, are playing the drums, I feel like they're surrounding me. The guitars feel crisper and cleaner. The bass feels much more round, which I like. It fills my body more, which is what I want. Overall, it has a more dynamic sound, and it feels very alive, this mix. And I was just, I really enjoyed it. There are moments though, I will say that the medley section, all those songs didn't sound that different from the other mixes. I felt the least amount, I shouldn't say the least amount of work, but the least amount of noticeable work was during that section. I heard more differences on the other tracks. And also Her Majesty, I didn't hear any differences between all the mixes. The most I heard was intergroove distortion because of where that track is placed. You get a lot of that. And I gotta say, the 69 US pressing, the 2012 Canadian pressing, and that UK pressing all were pretty equal in my mind. The big difference being is that the 69 US pressing is pretty worn out, so you can kind of hear a lot more surface noise. But I will say though, it's very punchy. I feel like Capitol kind of turned up the volume knob when they pressed that one. I would say I lean towards the UK pressing the most, but I also think it's cleaner, it's newer, it hasn't been played as much as the US pressing. I will say that the 2012 mix is actually surprisingly good. I was impressed with it. The one place I am very disappointed in is my mobile fidelity pressing. It just didn't sound good to me. It sounded different, but not in great ways. It sounded very mellow, very tame, muted even, and overall, I would say the signal to noise ratio was kind of high. The mix itself was much lower in volume, and I heard a lot more surface noise. And keep in mind, this record's 40 years old, and I know mobile fidelity has changed over the years. I don't have access to the vinyl itself right now, but this was in the era of very thin records. So, I mean, even my 69 US pressing is a thicker cut of vinyl than that mobile fidelity. So, I don't know, maybe it's been overplayed. If you own a copy, let me know what you think of the mobile fidelity version, but overall, I really can't recommend it. I think the US pressing or any original pressing blows it out of the water. I don't see a huge difference in a good way, you know what I mean? Yeah, and I gotta say the anniversary mix, again, very, very well done. Giles and Sam did a fantastic job, and I am very happy with this mix. So that sums it up. That is the comparison. Let me know your thoughts with a comment down below. Which version did you like best? And be sure to vote for your favorite with the card up in the corner. Until then, thank you all so much for watching. I'm your Vinyl Geek, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Hey everybody, thanks again for checking out this video. Now if you want to see more, I have a whole Beatles playlist right there, as well as you can check out my comparison of the White Album.